Well, the YouTube test idea had to step into my office outside my shed. But I wanted to go over the Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack albums. And when I first saw this movie back in 1983 on HBO, I did really think that this guy was, a real singer, of course, played by Michael Pear. And reenacting the life. And come to find out, this is just a movie of a story of a So as I was saying, I had to step away for a moment. When I was a kid, when I saw this movie, I thought it was the real deal of someone portraying a real artist. But come to find out, when I looked up, at it, say I think it was last year, it was just, a storyline made up by a writer. But you know what? It was a great storyline. And it literally brought out, the trueness of rock and roll, say, in history, especially when, back in the day, you get them artists, to come out with their one-hit wonders, say so, and something tragic happens, or someone, ends up too wasted on drugs, and that's the thing with this movie. This guy, Eddie, portrayed by, Michael Pear, just wanted to be with one of the best or the best, and ended up with his, saxophone player dying of a drug overdose, and his band falling apart, bringing the next level of music into the record company, and they didn't like it, and, all the things you would find in the complete script of a band. And, of course, if anybody hasn't seen this movie yet, I recommend it, truly recommend it, because not only did, Michael Pear play a great part in this movie, being a lip singer, and portraying the music to what it's, worth today. I go back, and the only time I was able to listen to this music was in my head, all up until, YouTube came along and I started researching it and started listening to it. Then I got my buddy out, Harry's a guy out in the Grafton flea market. I recommend anybody that's local that goes to that can get to the Grafton flea market. He's a heavy-set guy that sits near box trucks and has all kinds of CDs. And I guess out in Germany, he's got, Germany, where the U.S. has stopped reprinting music, Germany, and I guess, is still selling CDs and somehow reprinting it or whatnot. But here, I don't know what. Of course, we got Spotify and all these music apps that you can download music, but if anybody that don't realize that, it simply ruins, album sales and stuff, I think. Because if you ain't doing it the old-fashioned way of buying, back in the beginning with the 8-track, or let alone records, and then came 8-track, and then came, cassettes, CDs, And for this music, though, all up until YouTube was playing it, and I remembered it in my head, I gotta listen to them songs. I finally got the chance and opportunity to grab these 2 CDs. And I just been ramping them on the radio a lot. And we want to talk about fond memories. Of course, like I say, when I moved to New York back in late 82, 1983, all the way up to about 1984, about a year and a half, almost 2 years, I, was always looking for something to keep my mind at ease, because my parents had just split up and this movie was one of the reasons, that just kept me inspirational that, things could get better. And then, of course, part 2 came along, and that movie was even just, mind-blowing to say, he wanted to play with the greats, and that's what the whole first movie is about, but when they didn't look at him, say so, if you didn't see the movie, he didn't felt good enough, didn't felt worthy enough. And, that's where the whole concept of the story of where he crashes his car and ends up missing, and they presumed him dead. But in part 2, you gotta watch it to get the reasoning and the meaning. The more of that, of what you wanna, get out of the story. But music-wise, in John Cafferty, I am very glad they chose him to play the music, sing the music, and I forgot to look. I'm still uncertain if he wrote these songs or if he just played them. I know there's a couple songs on here that might be not his original or the movie original, which would be Runaround Sue. That's a definite doo-wop band from the 50s. But On the Dark Side, Tender Years, Down on My Knees, Hang Up My Rock and Roll Shoes, Wild Summer Nights, Boardwalk Angel, Betty Lou, Got a New Pair of Shoes. That I know is a 50s song. Those oldies but goodies, that one is another 50s song. And Season in Hell is the song he brought to the record company, like Say So mid of the movie, and they were telling him, hey man, this song ain't gonna sell like On the Dark Side, we need more of this. But I mean, Seasons in Hell, and then they got Season in Hell revised or something. It's an extra track, I believe, but it's another great song. I mean, it's not full of lyrics, but it is this great melody that comes on, and it's after this one, and it is all fire sweet. As you can see, it's a 6-minute song, so it does revise into two songs. But 1 through 4 or 5, no, 6, 1 through 7, great music. Hell, I had this in the radio, my kids were like, Mom, this is music from the 50s. What are you listening to? And this is pretty much like what it was supposed to be, coming out of the 50s. It was like 1960, the setting of the movie. And Season in Hell. And 8 and 9, right, are 2 remakes put into the movie, I guess. But remake songs. But the rest of them, man, whoever wrote and sang them, I don't know if it was John Cafferty. I have to look that up. I'm sure everybody would check that out. But he did a remarkable job on this. And it's about a wonder why he continues to play this music and pounding out the tunes while on tour. Then you got this album, Running Through the Fire. That's, I believe, an original that was made for this. Just a Matter of Time, Open Road, Mariah, Emotional Storm, Pride and Passion, Garden of Eden, Keep My Love Alive. I mean, there's a couple songs on here that I'm not just could get into, but Running Through the Fire, Just a Matter of Time, Mariah, Emotional Storm, Pride and Passion, Garden of Eden, Some Like It Hot, Keep My Love Alive. I mean, I would say the New York City song is kind of and maybe Open Road, or there's a couple songs on there, but it just, didn't catch. But every other song on this album is just phenomenon. And if you're from this time and era and have not seen this movie yet, you don't know what you're missing. Either movie, you don't know what you're missing. I recommend it. I give it a 10 on the scale for my purpose because, like I say, this movie gave me some inspirational in life, made me more want to be into the rock and roll scene. But like I say, I mean, things didn't go my way, even though I still pick up the guitar here and there and strum it a little. And if I could get my hands on some drums, I'd do that too. But, you know, this song gives you some inspiration in life, not just for the music, but just the concept of him having low self-esteem of himself and bringing himself to come back because, you know, he thought he wasn't good enough. And that's the whole concept of this movie, 1 and 2. Because he explains why, and I'll let you watch it if you can, but he explains to a buddy of his, or one of the ex-band members he has, and tells him, you know, but the main concept of this movie, 1 and 2, is that he had low self-esteem, low confidence, and just didn't think he was good enough. But just how this, you know, music comes about, and it is good music. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you gotta check this stuff out and you're good in this time era with this type of music, man, and On the Dark Side is always on the radio, still playing till today. Sometimes I catch it here and there. They should play it more. But I would love to see John Cafferty live too, man. I haven't seen him yet, but like I said, he portrays an awesome, you know, putting this music together, you know, portraying it to be, you know, making it look like it's a real, you know, man and his band. I mean, I did when I was a kid. I was only like 8 years old when I seen this movie. Like I say, man, I thought it was, you know, it was about a real person. That's how much this movie, you know, you get drawn into it. And you think, wow, this guy made this music. And like, yeah, you're getting into it. And Michael Pear, man, oh man, he does a phenomenal job of portraying and making this music come alive, man, even though he's lip syncing. But they said he was one of the best people that ever done a movie with lip syncing. He nailed it with this. There was one part I did catch him. He missed the scream in the microphone. And you could hear it, you know, in the movie, but you see his mouth shut. And then he opens it. But it doesn't even matter, man. When you're mesmerized into this movie, you're not even noticing that. But I just checked it because, or found it because, you know, I was just farting around with all the old, you know, stuff that old movies have in it. And mistakes and stuff. And I found that one, but, you know, whatever. It's a ballsy, badass movie. And I recommend anybody to check it out. And I recommend anybody to buy these two these CDs, man. Because they're just, if you're within this time and era. And like I said, the only thing I had closer to this was in my head, man. Playing the melodies and music. Or when I caught up with YouTube and got it on there, man, I've been listening to it all the time, and then I got this and bang. And I actually had my wife say, "What, are you obsessed with this music?" And I told, yeah, because I haven't had this music. The only time I had this was in my head, watching the movie when I was a kid. Watch it on YouTube, but it ain't enough, man. I've had this in the radio now for about 2 weeks, pounding on both albums. I'm like, yeah, great stuff, but I thought I'd share that. Anybody that wants to check this out, please do. You will not be sorry. It's a very inspirational movie. It takes your low self-esteem and throws it up in the air and out through the friggin' hole that you're in. You know, and when you see him come back, and this is the final part too, you know, he knew where he needed to be and he should have stayed in that spotlight. Because, you know, that's what the movie's about. And when you got the music behind it, giving you that power, driven, you know, emotional, kick-ass, get you out of the gutter feeling, man. It's movies like this that make you feel better. And I tell everybody, anytime, anywhere, music is life. And you need music to keep you going through these hard times. Make sure when you listen to this music, put it into some good memories you're going to have. Later on in life, you're going to need them, especially when you're young. But if you don't dig it, I can't predict everybody to listen to it. But back in my time, man, this is what got me through life. In my sadness, in my depression, I always had music there for me. When I was in my loneliest points, man, and this was one of it. And I thank Michael Pear for bringing this movie alive. You want to check other movies out with this guy in it. Streets of Fire, Philadelphia Experiment. There's another one that he plays in with Sandra Bullock. I forget the name of it, but he does a good job in that too. But I like these, 4 movies. Philadelphia Experiment, these 2, and Streets of Fire. He was in his prime when he did these 4 movies, man. And it makes you feel good down inside. So check it out. Recommended. Sealed and approved by Terrible Sight. To the next video, folks, be safe, take care, and always listen to music. Whether it's old, recent, or new. Whatever catches your attention. If it ain't this, get something. Always have music by your side, man. Always. Out.